Alright, so good morning everyone who's watching, or whatever time it may be where you're at. Just going over a few tips if you're learning how to spray, or if you're new to the game and you haven't quite seen this particular setup before, where it requires a bit of bulk spray and you're not too sure where to start. Okay, so here's a general rule of thumb when you're learning to spray or you're trying to figure out how to spray. Okay, you might be new to the shotcreting industry. Fill the big holes first. Okay, that is the easiest way of putting it. So fill the big cavities first with concrete. Okay, they're going to give you your biggest headache. They're going to take the longest time to actually put up. So fill all of your big holes first, regardless of whether it is on top, on the side, on a corner. Fill them all up. Okay, so fill these all up straight away. Okay, because you won't be overcommitting. Okay, so you can fill these large voids and you haven't come out past the wall. You haven't made your cutters work any harder than what they need to. So in regards to spraying, yeah, fill all the cavities first. Also, as a side note, piers. If you have a pier close to a wall, so if you have this big large hole here that you need to fill up with concrete, but you only have this much worth of soil, okay, be mindful not to put too much concrete in here, because it may push this wall out and collapse it. Okay, so be mindful. Sometimes they're not thin and you can get away with it, but other times, yeah, just use a little bit of common sense. If it's wider than your hand, you're okay. If it's a fist, don't fill it right up. So if she's wide, you're okay. If it's a fist, no. So that's a little tip that's a rule that I go by. I'd say on this job, I'm going to try and get up as much as I can in one hit. Also depends on skill level as well. If you can get away with it, it's a bit of a game. See how much concrete you can actually get up before it actually slumps out. I like to run at around 4.5 to 5 inch slump. So reasonably wet, and that comes down to a little bit of experience, a little bit of experimentation, but also having some solid guys who trained me up and showed me the ropes on how to spray. There's it's not for everybody spraying super wet, because some guys just don't have the patience to do so. It's on you. It's however best suits your team and your workflow, and also your machine. So some guys go 2 inch to 3 inch, some guys go 3 inch to 4 inch, and so on and so forth, up and until it depends on your skill level. But as a side note, the wetter that you spray, the easier that it is for your cutters and shapers. Also, as a side note, you will find that when you're spraying a little wetter, let's say 4.5 to 5 inch, and you compress the nozzle in closer to your workspace, you'll find that the slurry will push out. So you'll find the mix will be a lot more dense, because you can compress your mix when it's a little, let's say 4-inch. Let's say 4-inch slump. If you can push your nozzle right in, it will be less resistance for the aggregate to actually compress in with your other admixers. So you'll find that when you do a core sample, for those who are shooting their nozzle here, okay, you'll find that their compression rates on a fully cured pool will be higher than someone who is shooting, say, back here. Okay, and that's not a personal jab at other teams or other. It's just a scientific fact that closer you are, compression rates, it's going to be like that. It just is what it is. There you go. In saying that, there are times when you do need to step back, depending on the mix. You also need to take that into account. Not all mixes are the same. Mixes in Sydney are totally different to mixes up in, say, Melbourne or Brizzy. Mixes in Australia are definitely different to, let's say, the ones in Arizona and Florida and Texas. Okay, so they're different, and you have to spray according to your mix. What works for me doesn't necessarily work for you. So, yeah, so that's not a personal jab at anybody. It's just work to the best of your ability with the mix that's available to you. Let's see, so this one should be okay. Because it's only short, like it's off shoulder. Here is my shoulder. Boing. Okay, here's the line. Twang. Yeah, so this would be a good one. This would probably be 3 in a message. Yeah, 3 loads and a message. Should be right. And 4 steps. 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one down the bottom. Alright, so if you have any questions or queries or comments, just post them up. I'll try my best to answer them on the fly, but also if you see any problems or any concerns, it doesn't matter. It's like we're all here to learn. So if you see something that I could be doing that will increase my success rate, please post it, or post an idea which works for you. It may work for me as well. So we're all here to learn, and you're never too old to learn as well. So bodies change, physicalities of people change, mixes change over time. So what your grandpa's grandpa was using might not necessarily be available now. So the strength of sprayers has also changed. Some guys are a lot stronger these days. You know, it's just a change of the job. Okay, so don't get offended if somebody points out or critiques your work. That's fine. It's okay to be critiqued, because you might not have the latest revision of working specs. Okay, you might not have the latest update, or you might have just missed a video or a note or a tip from an old hand saying, hey, why don't you try this? This might make you feel a little bit better, and this might actually get the job done quicker, and so on and so forth. So yeah, so it's definitely these videos that are posted up here. Sometimes there is a little bit of hate and a little bit of banter that goes on. That's cool. That's all part of it. And, you know, we're adults here. But when it comes down to the job, we just want to make sure that everybody has not only a safe and productive day, but also get home in one piece, because that's, you know, we're all here because we actually love doing what we're doing. And we want to see the new guys come through not making the mistakes that we made as old men. So if we can share our knowledge, and don't think that you're giving away trade secrets, because you're not. I've had that comment said to me many a times. Oh, you're telling them how to do it. You know, it's giving away secrets. Well, no. There's no secrets. It's pneumatically placed concrete. The only difference between you and I is skill and experience. If I can share experience and share a skill set and it gets you out of the hole quicker, great. Or if you feel that your current team that you're on isn't being productive or isn't very forward thinking and you're kind of stuck, maybe it's time for you to shift. I mean, you might shift over to a crew that is a little bit more economical with movement and makes things a little bit easier, because this job's actually easy if you have economy of motion. So you do less movements, more work, less movements. So use big tools so you cover more area, spray a little bit faster, so you give guys to have a little bit of a rest in between trucks and catch up. So there's a couple of things. So if your team doesn't feel like it's being efficient, move. You're not stuck. Okay, you just because you're doing a specialized job doesn't necessarily mean that you're stuck anywhere. Okay, so if you feel it's time to move, it's all right. Okay, the grass is actually greener on the other side. So so I'm sure I'm gonna cop a little bit of flack for that particular comment, but as just a natural fact of life. There are guys who headhunt others and go, hey, you're good at what you do. There have been job offers expressed to me, and I'm grateful for them. I'm absolutely grateful for the interest shown. And, you know, it might not be suitable for me or my family at the particular time, but please don't take that as a refusal of the job. It's just, look, hey, it just didn't work out for me. I was meant to be stateside prior to COVID, but you know, it didn't work out just because of COVID, some flu. All right, so things change, and you got to flow with them. If you don't, hey, then you're not improving. All right, peeps. So I'm gonna post it up, chuck a few comments, DMs if you have to, but also. Be mindful that we've got a lot of watchers that just watch content and they don't comment. So the things that you say will definitely reflect on your professionalism. So just be mindful of that. So you know, be careful where you post and what you post. So if you want to be in the content creating game, be prepared to take all the good and the bad that comes with content creating. All right, peeps. See you on the next one of this. Cheers.